All right, sports fans, how's everybody out there doing? William Martin coming at you one more time here on YouTube with another edition of the 300 Pounds of Sports Knowledge Podcast. Now, there won't be too many tears shed today on Michigan Avenue for Arturas Karnisovas and Marc Eversley, as they are now the former executive vice president of basketball operations and the general manager of the Chicago Bulls, respectively. In the near 6 seasons that this duo ran the Bulls front office, this franchise only had one winning season and one trip to the playoffs. The Bulls have needed this day to come for quite some time because this was and is a franchise that is in desperate need of a reset. Now, I ask you, what moves did Arturas Karnisovas make on his watch to improve this roster? I'll just let you fill in the blanks because there weren't too many. The Bulls right now are not in a better spot than they were than the day that Karnisovas and Eversley came aboard. The Bulls have to start over completely as this once proud franchise has become an afterthought in the NBA since the firing of Tom Thibodeau as their head coach back in 2015. The Bulls have only had two winning seasons and two trips to the playoffs. Chicago has not gotten out of the first round since 2015, which was also Tibbs' last season there as the head coach. Now, does the termination of Arturas Karnisovas and Marc Eversley mean that this is also the end for Billy Donovan as the Bulls head coach? I would believe so because uh, Billy Donovan was the only head coach that this duo employed. And of course, I just talked about their resume and their track record with what they've done over the last 6 years. I don't think Billy Donovan has that much weight behind him now that would say, hey, you know what? I should still be the head coach for this team coming into the next season. And of course, bringing in a new GM and a new executive of basketball operations, those guys would definitely want to install their guy to be the new head coach. Now, Billy Donovan almost had the perfect out here. Why? Because it looked like North Carolina wanted to hire him to be their next head basketball coach. But word on the street is their athletic department could not wait because Donovan wanted to wait until the season was over to go out there and leave Chicago for Chapel Hill. And of course, today we saw North Carolina turn their attentions, to Michael Malone. So I think at the end of the day, Billy Donovan is still going to be out at the end of the year as the head coach of the Chicago Bulls. In my opinion, I give him credit, okay, for going out there and trying to make it work at the NBA level. It has not worked at the NBA level for Billy Donovan. I think the time is now for him to return to the college game with so many jobs that have already been filled. I think Billy Donovan is going to clearly sit out for the next season, do whatever he wants. And if there's a big college job that does come open between now and the end of next year, I guarantee you that Billy Donovan's name is going to be attached to that. But nonetheless, getting back to Karnisovas and Eversley, the Bulls never had an identity under them. They lacked any sense of direction. And, in watching all of the moves that were made, you never got the idea that, you know what, okay, I like this move. This is going to take the Bulls to that next level. No, that was never the case. Basically, on this watch, Billy Donovan included, the Bulls were only in the mix to be a play-in team. They got to the play-in tournament a couple of times, but of course, they were never able to get out of the play-in and get into the postseason. So I look at this team right now, just this season alone. You go back to January 23rd. Chicago was 23 and 22 at that time. Since then, the Bulls are just 6 and 27. These moves had to be made. Okay. So when it's all said and done, where do the Bulls go from here? Well, clearly, you're going to need a new voice in the front office. But if you're a Bulls fan, how optimistic are you about that due to the fact that you're still dealing with the Reinsdorfs who are running this organization? And of course, uh, the Bulls, as great as they were another generation before in the 90s, it has not worked out for them for the most part since, with the exception of the stretch with Tom Thibodeau and, of course, Derrick Rose. That was the best times for the Chicago Bulls in a very long time. And I guarantee you, the folks in Chi Town would love to see days like that come back around once again. You look at the Bulls, they're going to have a lottery pick depending on where the ping pong balls bounce. Let's see how high that pick is going to be. This is a very deep draft, so Chicago has the potential to go out there and find their next franchise player. But like I said, they have the potential. They have to surround that person with the right people. They've got to get the right people in this front office. They have to get the right head coach for this team. They have to find somebody who is a clear talent evaluator, because Arturas Karnisovas was surely not that person. All we've heard over the last couple of years from the Bulls, oh, they have picks. Oh, they have picks. Oh, they have picks. What do those picks amounted to? You think about it. They traded DeMar DeRozan to the Bulls. They traded, I mean to the Kings. They traded Zach LaVine out there to Sacramento as well. And it's one of those where, you know what did you really get back for them? Okay. And anytime that the Bulls have had picks, what have they done with them during this tenure? Absolutely nothing. And like, regardless of the sport, like I always say, draft picks are only good if you have somebody who knows what they're doing with them. Okay. So they're going to have a high draft pick. They're going to have a lot of cap space going into the summer. But again, they've got to start putting people there, that are going to entice, people to, like, say, hey, I want to come to Chicago and I want to play with that guy. I want to play with these guys, just that and the third. The Bulls simply do not have that right now. Like I said, this was a franchise that was in desperate need for this move to have happen, and it finally did. But like I said before, firing Arturas Karnisovas and Marc Eversley is one thing. Who are you going to bring in to replace them? And the people that you bring in to replace them, are they going to be able to clean up the mess that has clearly been made in the Windy City? Like I said before, these moves today had to be made. Arturas Karnisovas had to go. So did Marc Eversley. Billy Donovan is next. This is going to be, in my opinion, okay, the biggest reset for the Bulls since, the Michael Jordan Bulls were broken up after the 1998 championship. Clearly, and the reason why I say that is because basically they're starting over from scratch once again. Will the Chicago Bulls finally figure this out? Will the Chicago Bulls finally become respectable once again? We have to wait and see. But nonetheless, this is going to be a very important summer for the Bulls in the Windy City. But, folks, that is going to wrap it up. And as always, I want to take this time out to thank each and every one of you for checking out the 300 Pounds of Sports Knowledge podcast here on YouTube. And as always, if you like what you heard and saw on this podcast, you know what to do. Just hit that like button as well as subscribing to this channel. And like I always say, it's greatly appreciated. Also, if you are on the X, formerly known as Twitter, you can check me out anytime at 300 Pounds of Sports. And like I always say, if you give me that follow, it will be my pleasure to do the same in return. And that also goes for Instagram, where you can check me out at 300 Pounds of Sports Knowledge. Also, if you are on Facebook, definitely be sure to check out the Sports Depot 365. And as far as I'm concerned, one of the better sports groups going on social media. But until next time, fine folks, my name is William Martin. And I am signing off, and I'm saying thanks once again for checking out the 300 Pounds of Sports Knowledge podcast here on YouTube. Be well, everybody.